we all have a story, and we are, we just do, and it's quite amazing. I'm going to go to Scott now, and we're going to talk about a bit of your story. Now, we're on Facebook, so let's share.
Look at those. I just want to grab what we're just talking about. I think it's really important.
Yeah.
If you don't own your story, something or someone else does.
They control it.
You need to own it.
Yep. What we do is, a lot of the time when we don't have confidence in ourselves, is we conform to our surroundings because it's easy and there's no conflict or whatever. But to own your story, you have to take that power back yourself. So how do you do that?
Correct. Through having guidance of your environment, having someone in your corner support you to get through the things you need to get to, see the things you don't see. So the irony in the fact that we're talking about a safe place to land, that's exactly what I'm about.
So what's a safe place to land? What do you mean by that, Scott?
Yeah, brilliant. So the last 13 months, I've been working with builders across Australia.
Builders. Right.
So
Okay.
that have been under extreme pressure through all the opportunities that have been presented to them from COVID.
Yeah.
But that's only a small part of their life.
Okay. What's the other part?
Family.
Right.
Self.
Yeah.
Opportunities.
And what's going on with these builders? Because there's obviously something going on with these builders. They've got the opportunity. They have their family. They have their children. They have all that. But what's behind the scenes that we're not hearing or not seeing?
Is the fact that they're just men.
No one's just a man.
Yeah.
They're a man.
What is it? Yeah, I agree. But they are a man.
Yeah.
And being a man is not just the business hat you wear.
No.
It's all other parts of life. It's your education, it's your environment, it's your activities, it's your emotional well-being. So where is a safe place to process all this? Because one of the things for me I'm actually super proud of men. I'm so proud. Like Thursday night just gone, I had a dinner in Frankston for Smiles for Life, where within just two posts, I sold out a 60-seat venue to get men together for a dinner. Just because I was bringing men together to create positive role models in our environment.
Create a safe environment to have the conversation that they need to have, that they don't realise they need to have too.
Yeah, I think it's about building trust. Like I look at the way in which, I'll go back to safe place to land in a minute, we've gone into here. And men will talk if you give us the opportunity. But we've got to have somewhere without judgment. We've got to have somewhere where we can practice. Okay, it's not about getting it right. It's about having a crack at it, seeing what comes up and exploring that. One of the things that's been so fantastic for me is being a part of the Campfire Project, where I've been able to tackle huge conversations. Talk about death, talk about truth about drugs, all the way from selling, dealing, network marketing, all the way through that, through to does size matter? I sat with 5 women and talked about penis size because I was able to, because I was in a safe place where people, my whole intention was curiosity and understanding. So therefore I could be a better version of me and understand the impact that I have on others. And the dinner that we had, it just felt, it was one of the most beautiful things. We had the diversity in the room was extraordinary. We had a primary principal from a primary school, an ex-principal from a high school, a minister who'd just seen the post and turned up. We had a member from VicPol PT who works with the PTSD. We had a young guy who's a power lifter, through to guys that have been down an ayahuasca path, down to guys that were just lonely and just wanted to spend some time with some people.
Have a conversation. Mm-hmm.
But it was about, one of the things for me I'm seeing is there's so much negativity around mental and social health that we're failing, we're doing this wrong, we're doing this wrong. The whole marketing strategy was, I know there's good men. Can you come together with me? Can we sit and have a meal? And we'll have a conversation based upon what makes you smile, What are you proud of? What can we share and learn from one another? And it was extraordinary. Give us a chance, a safe place to get things making progress, because I don't like to say wrong, because life is full of opportunities to learn, right? So I was so proud, so proud.
What was the one thing that you saw on that night that was outstanding?
So the Bayside Community Kitchen's an extraordinary place. Okay, they serve over 500 meals a week now to those sleeping rough or can't afford a meal.
Right.
That's out the back door. So we base ourselves at the Bayside Community Kitchen for that reason, so that
Where are they based?
So Young Street, opposite the train station in Frankston.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so we're based there so that we're all part of one community, because in our community there's all kinds of people, from lawyers, doctors, to drug addict, to policeman, to student. We all live in one community.
We're all different cultures, and if we can all come together and have good conversations and start understanding each other, then results will start to happen. It can be slow, it can be fast, depending on the individual.
Yeah, and it's a community. If we want the community we want, we need to be involved in the community we want. Let's not ask for it to change, let's be the change in our community. So therefore, what we're doing at the moment is we're just bringing men together just to explore what it is, positive masculinity, positive male role modeling. Let's explore what Frankston has to offer. Let's explore what we can do together,
And you probably not only draw people from around that area, you'll draw them from further afield once people get to know that facility is there for them.
Yeah, I hope to expand it over time into different areas, because I'm a firm believer, like with the Campfire project that I adore and love, where we're looking at things on a global scale. But I need to check in with my own backyard before I do anything else. I need to make sure my lawn's mowed, make sure that, I look after the gardens and treat it well. So therefore, it's a good environment for us to absolutely flourish.
And by that, you mean the people within your realm, I suppose, make sure they're safe and they're comfortable and they're growing and feeling like they are a part of society and not just there feeling like they shouldn't be there.
100%. I work, play, invest in Frankston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's really important to look after all those environments for myself, not only for me, but for my son, because every single one of us affects one another.
True.
And that's the energy that creates. Like, it's not a mistake that we're sitting next door to the methadone clinic in Frankston. We're there. It's safe. Come in. Yeah. If things aren't going right, come sit down. You fall asleep at a table, you get left alone because you need a break. You need a break, clearly, right? So let's take that back a step.
Mm-hmm.
You kick them out.
And what do they do?
What happens? Yeah, my wife walks past with my son. They're angry.
And they take it out on somebody
walking past. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then what does that do? What does that do to our community?
Fear.
Creates more fear. Mm-hmm. And then they get on the local page, the notice boards, and they post about their experience. And that goes into the entire community. And we all live there, and we all work there, and we all invest there, and we all play there. So let's focus on creating positive experiences for one another. So therefore, we can live together. And I'm in my backyard. Yep. Because that's the most important environment for me right now. And I think it's something that we can all look at. How can we improve our own personal environment? Because we're all living in them.
We actually are. And you can be in close-knit environments where you don't get on with people. Why?
You can have a different opinion. And I love this. And I actually love the first time that we caught up in Melbourne. And we was at the Disruptors Club. And
the Disruptors Club. What's the Disruptors Club?
It's a network, an event group which has live events, but they also have online events. And I've been part of that. And while I was in Melbourne, it was great to be able to catch up at Christmas time and see people I've been working with online but hadn't seen face to face before. And in fact, that was the first time I actually met you too, Faye. And Scott came along to that, and we walked around the streets. I actually chased a number of police down to have a conversation with them and give them socks. But we walked around, and Scott does a lot of this work on a regular basis, walking around, talking to people and making that connection with them, because we make safe places for people. We have a responsibility to do that. It's not a case of saying to, like if we look at the people, if they got kicked out of that kitchen and we're out on the streets, they then behave in the way that you've just described towards other people. Haven't the people who kicked them out have been the bullies? Because they created them to go and bully other people. This is what we've got to think of. The old saying that, well, I'm not my brother's keeper. Well, we are human beings and we are responsible for our community, and everybody in the community is part of that community. So we all have a responsibility to it.
Yeah, and if you kick someone out, is it because you don't know how to deal with that person?
Correct.
Is it because you're feeling intimidated? Is it because you're feeling something there and not feeling comfortable, so you need to remove it so that you can get back to feeling comfortable?
So when fear meets fear, it creates more fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only when you come into things with an open heart, love and curiosity, can you actually grab that fear and go, Simon, thank you. You're where you're at today. That's okay. And we meet them and we take on that curiosity so we can hold them in that safe space to get through that moment in time.
And it's curiosity, isn't it? It's working with the curiosity. I'm curious. That's why I ask a lot of questions. Curious about who you are and what you do, why you do what you do, where you come from, and how you got where you are today. And it's interesting because when I was teaching in the TAFE system, I had a couple of students and they were the most disruptive students, but they were the best. They were the best students. I loved them. And, the experience I had while I was working in there was really interesting, because I met lots of different kids from different levels of life, socioeconomic life, I suppose, and emotions and all that sort of stuff. And it was really interesting. And I always remember these two in particular, which one was a female and one was a male, and one did graffiti. It was amazing. So I let him do it on the board. And he had the worst life at home. His mother was a druggie and left, and his father was an alcoholic and not to be trusted, and all these sorts of things. And he'd come to school where he felt safe, and it was quite amazing. But it was a great experience for me to see these kids who trusted me.
Right there.
Yeah.
Was what we built in the 12 days to Christmas. Papa came down from Newcastle along with Shorty from in Byron Bay, Lennox Head, and we walked the streets of Frankston, and we connected with over 2,500 people through our tour of socks.
So you have
trust.
Dan, we don't have those socks to show.
We're on Facebook Live, so hey guys, I can do it.
Beautiful.
While I'm holding them up, Scott, just tell the story of the socks while I'm holding them.
Yes.
So those socks are our tool to connect with our communities, because it's time to reconnect. It's time to bridge that gap. The time is now, and we're doing it with a smile.
Yeah.
The black dots on those socks, they represent our dark days.
Right.
We all have them. No one's getting out of that.
True.
But there is more sunshine than there is dark days, because our dark days are generally between areas. So let's talk about it.
Our thoughts.
And I'll add to that as well. I always say to people that, as Scott said, there's more brightness there than there are dark days. But I also point out to people that the yellow also represents the support that they give other people and the support that they receive themselves. And when you're doing that, you can make sure that those black dots, those dark days, don't join up. So it comes down to that connection with other people. We were talking about, there's a system at the moment where you can go and join a group called Lunch Club. And on a Friday and a Thursday, you can book in and connect with somebody around the world just by putting your profile in. And it's an invitation thing. Everybody's happy to do that because they know the people they're meeting are people who want to connect with other people. They're not really doing business. We're getting to know about their, their life, the things that they go through. And it's nice, easy conversations. It's like going along to a party and just walking up to somebody and having a chat. What people don't realise is that it's not that big a leap to then talking to somebody in the street. I got a big wake-up call many years ago. I was jumped on the train and going back towards, I'm in Sydney, and I got on a train to get back to Central. It was only a couple of stations. And then from there, jump on the country train to come back to Newcastle. When I got in, on the carriage on the flat level, there's a guy in the corner, obviously off the street, with his gear around him and everything else. And everybody else were jammed in the upper and lower sections of it. Nobody else in that section. Now, I'm lazy. I didn't want to go in there and try and join the crowd and everything else. I've only got a couple of stations to go. It was only actually 2 stations. And I sat down opposite him with the long benches and we just started chatting. When we got to Central, I almost forgot to get off the train because I was too busy talking to him. The amount of knowledge he had about the legal system around politics and everything else, we got into an in-depth conversation. Now, if I hadn't just taken that opportunity, being lazy, to just sit down and go, okay, I'll just bear this for the next couple of stops, but we got in this conversation, that would have been a moment of real pure joy that I would have completely missed, and something that I would have continued to sort of stand back from those people. Everybody's got a story, and a lot of those people in that situation, the stories they got are so rich, and I can learn so much from them. And
everyone has a story.
Yeah, and when I'm walking along with Scott, he'll see people that I don't even notice at the time, and he'll go and talk to them, and then we join those conversations. While he's talking, I'll just sit back and listen to the conversations. So I'm taking it in and watching them and reading them as well. But I'm hearing the way he's connecting with them. Now, as we said, we were talking about before, when we first met each other, and he didn't have that high opinion of himself, what I see was proof of what I could see in those first moments when I first met him. And I'm so glad that we had that conversation. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today, and my life wouldn't be as rich as it is, because knowing him and knowing the other people that are coming around me, that's made my life so much better.
Mm. And it's interesting, isn't it? There's no such thing as, the words have gone right out of my head. But accidental meetings, there are meetings that they're meant to happen when they're meant to happen. There is a time and a place, but they are meant to happen. So people come into your life, they either stay in your life for a short time or a long time. Very quickly say what you were going to say, Scott.
Yeah, I just want to honour that, because he's a man that I love dearly. They'll openly let him know that I love him.
And that's not a shame.
No, and it's because of the effort we put into each other. I chose and made the decision that I wanted to be the best version of myself. So I put myself in a room with other people who were choosing to do the same. And what's come of that is the most extraordinary things. We've been able to not only support and love each other, but support communities.
Yeah.